People, a lot of you are talking about the SEC appeal and what disaster it could bring to the industry. But I don't think enough people are looking at it the other way around. I actually think like coins like VET, XRP, Cardano, etc. could actually pump a lot. I mean, especially like for VET, Cardano, and Polygon. VET obviously because of the Coinbase listing thing, and Cardano and Polygon because they were the coins that were actually mentioned that the SEC said they might be actually suing and are actually kind of suing as part of the Coinbase lawsuit. I mean, the SEC's interlocutory appeal, if that gets denied, that does not bode well for the SEC. And if they just outright lose it, that's even worse. So the SEC may have actually just sped up their own demise in the crypto case. First of all, judges don't really like to grant that ruling, and those appeals hardly ever work. Now, I'm not going to be like Jeremy Hogan or John Deaton or like some of those guys. Like I think like a couple of people, I don't know if it's Hogan or Deaton, but they're saying that it has 0% chance of success. I'm not that optimistic. I think most likely it's going to fail. But when the government does something like this, it's never 0% chance of success. They are the government, and they do have special powers that most of us mortals don't actually have. So it's not 0%, but I do actually think it's quite a small percentage. But the thing is, like, think about this. The SEC specifically mentioned that they needed to stay in the case so it wouldn't affect the other cases that are actually ongoing right now. What that means is, despite their victory in not getting the Terra Luna case dismissed, by the way, they didn't actually win that case yet, they just didn't actually get it dismissed. They don't have the confidence to actually pursue the Coinbase and Binance cases without a stay in the current Ripple case, because they know the Ripple case is more important than the Terra Luna case, despite both in the same jurisdiction. And remember, the Terra Luna judge actually said the crypto itself is not a security, but because of the way Terra Luna actually sold the crypto, it could be construed and viewed as a security. A big difference between the two. So the thing is like right now, the Ripple case is a bigger deal, because let's be honest, everyone knows that Terra Luna and Hex are low-hanging fruit that the SEC specifically picked on to this date. And I think this is actually all planned out because like they're like, oh, we lost the Ripple case. The Coinbase case, the Grayscale case, not going very well for us. Where can we pick up a couple of wins that may not actually have the public completely turn against us? Oh yeah, Terra Luna and Hex, because Hex, besides the Hexians themselves, everyone basically regards it as a scam. And Terra Luna, yeah, they like scammed a bunch of people and then just kind of like left. Do Kwon just like ran, and now he's under arrest. So we're probably not going to get too much backlash for those. And if we can pick up a couple of easy wins, it might bolster our case in the appeal. So yes, part of it, they are suing Hex and Terra Luna maybe for money, but I think a large part of it is to build up their credibility for an appeal. Because I think if they lost the Terra Luna thing, they wouldn't have actually appealed. But now since they have a win on their side in the same district, they might have an argument for an emergency appeal. But of course, Torres may not grant it because judges obviously don't like to give emergency appeals to judgments they just handed down. So it's most likely going to get denied. And if it gets denied, I think that bolsters the case for Coinbase, that bolsters the case for Binance. Now, Binance has fraud charges against it, and that's another matter altogether. But Coinbase is actually being sued for offering unregistered securities. And Coinbase has filed a dismissal of the lawsuit based on these coins are not securities in themselves. And if you follow Torres' ruling, which is the big one, the coins themselves are not are not securities, and secondary markets are not securities. So the SEC is trying to get that overturned. They are actually not trying to overturn the part where it says the coins themselves are not securities. All three judges, LBRY, Terra Luna, and Ripple, have actually bolstered that point. So the SEC knows it's not really going to win that point. But as like in reality, if you can get programmatic sales, institutional sales, and secondary sales to be securities, the coin itself might as well be a security because you can't actually trade it in the United States in that manner. And that's what the SEC is truly trying to do. But how could this actually moon these coins? Well, like I said, it's not going to work. And the thing is, like, even if the appeal goes through and they lose the appeal, that provides absolute clarity. And remember, this is an appellate court. And appellate court has higher jurisdiction than a circuit court. So if the appellate court actually renders this decision against the SEC, that means all other courts in the second district have to follow it. That would literally overturn the Terra Luna lawsuit as well. And the SEC might risk actually like basically upending their decision over Terra Luna, because if the Ripple decision holds, then it follows through that the circuit court's judge in the Terra Luna decision will have to be reversed as well. So again, Terra Luna could also moon because of this, although that has nothing to do with Do Kwon right now. But people will associate with it, and it actually might moon. So the thing is, like Cardano and Polygon specifically, because they're basically suing those two coins via Coinbase, because they specifically listed Cardano and Polygon, the biggest ones among the coins that could possibly be securities. So if the SEC, if this case is actually dismissed, or if this appeal is actually not granted by Judge Torres, then that gives a lot more clarity to Cardano and Polygon. And the nail in the coffin is, if this case, the appeal is not granted, the Coinbase case is very, very likely to actually be dismissed. And if that case is dismissed, that gives absolute clarity to pretty much every single alt out there listed on Coinbase that it is absolutely not a security. And the SEC would have to file a formal appeal with with Judge Torres, or like the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, after they resolve the Brad Garlinghouse Chris Larson case, which could take another year or two in themselves. And by that time, like, Congress might have already written new rules, because make no mistake, Congress is turning more and more pro-crypto as time goes on. You're seeing both Democrats, all the Republicans, but also a lot of Democrats turn pro-crypto in their districts, and with their campaign finances and all that other stuff. So Gary Gensler knows that he's actually on a timeline. These big companies like BlackRock and Fidelity, they're turning more crypto. Congressmen are turning more pro-crypto, and it might only be like Elizabeth Warren and Brad Sherman at waging war against crypto. Even Maxine Waters isn't as anti-crypto as they are. She voices high concern about stablecoins and all that stuff, because I don't think she really understands that stuff. And of course, it's something new, so they're going to be a little bit afraid of it. But even she's not quite as anti-crypto as Warren and Sherman. So it might just be those two against everyone else, and that doesn't bode very well for Gary Gensler in himself. So Gensler knows he's on a timeline. The SEC is desperate to get this appealed, because if they don't grant this appeal, then they're going to lose all those other lawsuits. Like I said, like the SEC specifically mentioned that, because they know they're going to lose them. They know that they know the gavel is against them, and they're just trying desperately to turn it around. A lot of people in the XRP army are saying like this lawsuit only applies to Ripple. That's not true. And the SEC knows it's not true. If the SEC actually thought it was true, they wouldn't actually bother to have this special appeal. And they definitely wouldn't mention the Coinbase and Binance lawsuits as part of this appeal. They're literally asking for a stay in this lawsuit, in the judgment, because like specifically they know it's going to affect the Coinbase lawsuit. And the Coinbase lawsuit, like the implications of that are bigger than the Ripple one, because Ripple, the implications might be limited to them, but the Coinbase lawsuit is not limited to one crypto. It's for a lot of cryptos, anything that Coinbase actually lists. And the Ripple lawsuit might be the determining factor in the Coinbase lawsuit. So that's why like this motion for appeal by the SEC might actually end up coming back to bite them in the ass, because one, it's not likely to be granted. And if it's not granted, like I said, it bolsters Coinbase case for dismissal. They would actually have to file and wait. And maybe they would even have to settle with Garlinghouse and Larson much earlier than they actually want, and not be able to extract as much money as they want out of Garlinghouse and Larson, or maybe even outright lose that case in order to hurry up and file appeal, because a regular appeal cannot actually be filed until the court case is actually resolved. But there's also a risk that they just lose the appeal altogether. And if they lose the appeal altogether, if the appellate court looks at it and like, yeah, we agree with Judge Torres, then they risk flipping the Terra Luna verdict around as well. Because remember, that's in the same district, and the appellate court overturns the Ripple case, then it's very likely they would overturn the Terra Luna case. Do Kwon himself could actually file for appeal. And if they lose this appeal, they're definitely going to lose that one. So I mean, right now, it seems like these are kind of unreasonable actions by the SEC, and they're just trying to delay tactics as much as possible. My guess is, like most likely, Judge Torres is not going to grant the appeal. Coinbase is actually going to succeed in their dismissal, or at least in their lawsuit, all those cryptos are going to get clarity in short order on the secondary market at least, and we will actually be able to trade them on Coinbase. And that would be a total, utter, and disastrous loss for the SEC. I don't think Hester Pierce would mind it, but Gary Gensler would definitely not like that result. But it is the result that he is actually heading for. A lot of lawyers are actually against this kind of special appeal because it's so unlikely to actually work. And the SEC is basically saying like it can affect other lawsuits. So that's why they want this special appeal. But, you know, all these decisions affect different lawsuits. So I don't really think that's a very good excuse for Gary Gensler to take. Obviously, like Charles Gasparano and others who are like anti-crypto are really thinking this appeal is going to work. But then they were also sure that the SEC was going to win in the Ripple lawsuit as well. And they did not. So the SEC is not invincible. They're going after, like, they're basically pursuing a desperate tactic right now to stall crypto. And it could, I think there's like a 50% chance at least, it's going to come back and haunt them and maybe even reverse their Terra Luna court case ruling. Of course, I actually want them to lose, so I might be biased, but I think most of you will feel the same way as well. And like, you know, sometimes Gary Gensler just needs to take his losses and go home, and he's not doing that. And I think it's going to really, really hurt him in the time to come, because like the judges and the courts are not liking the SEC's shenanigans, and every extra shenanigan that he actually pulls off, they're just going to turn more and more against him. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.